my cup with some Java love. Sit on down, let's talk it up. I know some laughing lattes.
Welcome to Life and Lattes with Liv and Cole. I'm Cole.
And I'm Liv, and I hit my head on the mic.
Well, at least she hit it on the mic and not the guitars behind her. So
I literally just said 2 seconds ago, I always hit the microphone every week.
And she did, folks.
This time I'm just unaware of my hat. Dang it.
Well, guess what? We got our first guest of 2020.
It's true.
Man. Oh, man. First guest.
Hey,
Luke
what's this
Reks.
pressure?
Welcome
Wild.
to the show.
What is up? How's it going?
Oh, we're
I'm so glad to be here.
We're
honestly.
feeling it today.
Sweet.
We are.
We're
Yes.
feeling it. We're excited. We're excited that you're here.
Yeah,
is nice.
I forgot this is the first guest of 2020.
That's what I
This
mean.
is a
That's
lot
amazing.
of pressure.
That's so cool.
It's an honor.
Sweet. Yeah, honestly, I am. Yeah, this is great. Start off the new year, hopefully. Yeah.
So as usual, we're drinking coffee. We're going to talk about
Yep.
that a little bit. I got some would you rathers for Luke, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about who he is and what he does, and get some more of your backstory. So,
Awesome.
Liv, what are we drinking today?
It is a Starbucks day.
Starbucks.
Even though last week I
Yes.
said we're trying to do more local, I saw this.
Liar.
I couldn't help myself because I was curious of what this tasted like. It is, thank you. It's coffee with essential vitamins.
What essential vitamins?
A source of 5 B vitamins.
Oh, wow.
So B1, 3, 5, and 12. And biotin to help keep your body running at its best.
Yes.
And a large amount of caffeine to make sure
Yeah.
you never fall asleep.
I don't know. I just thought that's interesting. I've never seen that before in coffee.
I haven't tried it yet. So
That is interesting.
I know vitamin coffee. I mean, it's smart. I
Yeah.
think.
Have you guys had the mushroom coffee?
No.
Lion's Mane mushroom. Oh man, is it? I forget who has it, but it's Lion's Mane mushroom, which is one of like the world's like 7 superfoods. It's pretty much like a natural Adderall, you could say.
I think I saw you post something about that.
It's
and I was
interesting.
going,
It's interesting. You can for sure taste the little funk in it, for sure. But like, it's at the end of the day, it really makes you wired, honestly. But
Interesting.
little shroomy.
I've seen
yeah.
it like with people using like just turmeric for coffee. Have you seen that before?
I think so.
I don't know. It seems like
Yeah,
We might have to do like a full episode of like alternative coffees.
ooh, we should.
Yeah, there's another one with chaga, which is another root. It's just a root that they're both. I mean, they have different effects. Honestly, it's interesting though.
But when you drink it, are you like, oh man, this isn't coffee?
It's not something to drink for like the pleasure of the taste. It's more just like, let's get this down, let's get our day started. So,
I gotcha.
yeah,
I
yeah,
gotcha. One
yeah.
of those.
Right.
Kind of like the green juice,
Yeah.
right? You're like, okay, let's just get this done.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what any of those vitamins do for you. I'll be completely honest. That the B whatever. I know that a lot of times that stuff could be like calming, and I don't know, along those lines. So if you're like,
Hey, I know that biotin is good for hair growth and nails and skin. So
I think was there B12? I'm
Hey-o.
pretty sure
Yeah.
B12 was for. I always got recommended that for hangovers. They said if you ever have one, just take a B12 and
There
you
you
should
go.
be good. So
you could do that or drink this.
yes.
What's it officially just? Okay, so it's medium roast coffee with essential vitamins. So it's just I think it said something about house blend on the back. So yeah, if you want to get some vitamins and drink coffee all at the same time, I'm sure that we negated all the vitamins with our white chocolate creamer,
yeah, the Starbucks white chocolate.
which is the
Yes.
best.
It is
Have
good.
you had this creamer before?
Honestly, I haven't. I just had it black, but I do need to get some more then. Absolutely.
It's fantastic. Because there's like 3 or 4 different ones.
Yeah.
And this has been my favorite so far.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm a
Wow.
big fan of the cinnamon dolce.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I
That
think I
sounds
tried that with you.
Yeah.
I'm just not a big cinnamon guy, so
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I was always a white chocolate mocha. That was
I'm
like
with
my
you.
jam.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
yeah.
when I saw this, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can make it at home.
Yes.
It's close enough.
Yeah.
It's not quite there, but it's
It's
close enough.
It's fine.
It's still saving me money, which I'm good with.
Right. For sure. Yeah. I'm with you.
Falling on a budge.
Yep. Yep.
Hey, Starbucks is expensive.
I'm aware.
Yeah. You're right. Oh my gosh.
Although I will, so they just built a new Starbucks there at the Franklin exit, so 65 and whatever that is, 44 Jeff Street or whatever. And I went up and I had stars, and so I was like, hey, I'm gonna get a vanilla
So
latte.
it's open now.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes. So what I loved about it was the first barista. He goes, well, if you're gonna use your stars, he goes, why don't we just make it a venti? And I was like, because it's free. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess that's a good idea. But it's just nice that he even said anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right,
I was like,
right.
let me help you out here. Like, it's a free coffee, get the biggest one.
I got
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
I didn't finish it, but it was free. So,
Looking out for you though. That's
right?
good.
I was
That's
like,
good.
okay, I like that. Customer service is hard to come by these days. So
Yeah, yeah.
True that.
But anyways, so get your vitamin coffee. It tastes
your
like coffee. It doesn't
Yeah.
taste like anything
Yeah.
crazy. So
No, it
It
doesn't.
is good though. It is very good.
okay. Are you ready for some would you rathers?
I am.
Okay. Because some of these can get off the wall. So I think
That's
I have
okay.
6. So
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I'm gonna start you. I'm easy in.
Okay.
So I didn't want to break you right off the bat.
Sweet. Sweet.
I'm
Awesome.
excited.
Okay. So first one is, would you rather have a golden voice or a silver tongue?
Ooh.
I'm not gonna lie. Can you define the silver tongue for me?
Yeah. So I think a lot of times that's referring to being very good and tactful with your words. Like you can speak very
Communicate well.
Yeah, you're very good communicator.
I would definitely say silver tongue, honestly, just because
Yeah.
having that ability just to communicate to anyone, regardless of like their background, introvert, extrovert, that'd just be amazing.
Right,
Honestly, just
kill
be able
the
to
communication
connect
game.
with anybody. It'd be so awesome.
Doesn't silver tongue kind of have a negative
Oh, maybe
Well,
not.
I
tone
think,
to
I
it
think
usually?
I think sometimes it can
Okay.
because of how well you can speak and how well you can. I think the issue is you can also manipulate people
Yeah.
very easily.
People use it for the wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, people use it for bad.
Right.
Okay, well, I wouldn't want to do that.
I
Honestly,
would think, you could do that with either one.
Yeah,
right.
right, honestly,
I mean, if
yeah.
you had a golden voice, you could still just as easily,
yeah.
as the silver tongue, right? Why are you looking at me? What would you have, Liv?
I don't know. I just, like to be devil's advocate,
I know. That's why we. That's
Yeah.
like, well, what about this?
It's a good perspective. It's good perspective.
Okay. Would you rather have one real get out of jail free card or a key that opens any door?
Oh man, jeez. I don't know. I would say the one key that opens any door, just because like there's some like regardless of where I'm at in the world or anything, if I'm like in a museum or something, they're just like, hey, like what's behind there? Like let's go check it out and just see what's going on.
That would be
that'd be
pretty
amazing.
nuts.
Yeah.
That would be insane.
until you get caught,
Until we get
arrested,
caught.
and then you need that get out of jail free.
Right. And then I do this,
Here's
yeah,
Liv.
yeah. Fair,
Because I was like, well, it'd be pretty
Yeah.
easy to pick
Yeah,
the
you're
key
right.
because like I'm not doing anything wrong. And then,
Yeah.
but if you could get in any door, then you wouldn't be.
Yeah. Or is it like one key for everything, as in like for your car and for your house, so you only need like one key for everything?
Yeah,
and
I think no matter what, just one key, you're done.
'cause
Hopefully
that would be
keyless.
sweet. Yeah.
Just saying.
Of course.
Just grab the doorknob. You're like,
Oh, perfect.
it's like magic.
Yeah.
You would never know if the door was ever
Yeah,
locked. though.
you're right.
That would be really creepy if you went over to like a friend's house and you were like early and you just didn't even think about it and you're just like,
Open the door.
Yeah.
open the door because it doesn't matter.
Like just walk into the White House, like super casually.
They're like, how did you do that?
Yeah. Although you could use it to your advantage though, right? If you're like, no, like I have this power to open up any door, then you may be some sort of like
That's true. The government would probably hire you.
yeah.
Or some like if you're like discovering new pyramids or something, like open a key
yeah.
to any door and you can like
Yes.
unlock and you just know that'd be kind of wild.
I think I
That'd
would
be
choose
super
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you could use that to your advantage.
That would be baller.
It would be.
Somebody figure it out.
Yeah.
Make that happen.
Get on that.
Okay. This one's
Sweet.
You got to think about it a little bit.
Sweet.
Would you rather go back to age 5 with everything you know now,
God.
or know now everything your future self will learn?
Ooh.
Know now everything my future self would learn.
And why did you pick that?
No, I'm honestly trying to process it.
Okay, yeah, no, it's a lot. I know.
Yeah. Go back to age 5 with everything that I know.
Gosh.
I
You're
know.
so innocent then.
Yeah.
I don't
honestly,
think I want to know the ugly of the world at
Yeah.
age 5.
Honestly, like, could you help me define like that second part of it as well? Could you help explain that to me
Yeah.
a little bit? Yeah.
Yeah, so essentially, I'm trying to think like the better way to say it than the way they worded it is, again, you would be able to take all your knowledge from now and start at 5 with that knowledge. Or as you sit now, you would know everything that you would know until the day you die. So instead of learning throughout time, you would just know all the things you're going to know up until the day you're not here anymore.
I would definitely go back to 5 then. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just because the part of, I mean, the learning, the failing, that entire process, that's something that like that drives creativity and just passion within people. So, and I mean, if I knew everything I knew now when I was 5, just there'd be so like many less like challenges, frustrations, things that would happen, but that'd be kind of crazy, honestly.
Right?
Yeah.
Think about it, you get to this point in your life and get to, you're like adding new things to that list. Like you could learn 3-4 times more than you could.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're kind of capping yourself with that whole future thing.
Yeah, honestly. But I mean, at the same time,
you would be able to avoid some things.
Yeah, you really would.
So true.
But also but also understanding that also means like understanding your end and like what that looks like on Earth, and like I just don't want to know that honestly. But yeah, I don't know. It'd be pretty wild.
Yeah, that's I didn't even think about that part of it. You would know, like,
and I just wouldn't want to have that because I'd be living out of a state of fear, and I just don't want to live out of that. So
yep,
it'd be wild. It'd be wild.
I like that.
I like it.
That's the fun part, is being able to dive into the logic of like what these things would bring.
Yeah.
Okay, this one won't take as much.
Okay. All good. I'm liking it. It's good.
Would you rather only be able to use a fork and no spoon, or be able to use a spoon and no fork?
Oh
forever.
Man. Soup would be no fun.
Oh no.
Soup would be
You would be done with soup. Like, never again.
Honestly, I'm
just drink it.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I'd probably use a fork, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd probably be cool with that.
There's more utility with a fork, I think.
I agree.
For sure.
Which one would you do? I knew
Spoon.
it.
Audrey picks a spoon.
We have this thing going on that she will use a spoon for things you're supposed to use a fork for.
Like what? Like mac and cheese? Are you one of those that uses a spoon for mac and cheese?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's a communist. What?
And now we've talked about it so much, I got her all jumbled up. And she like
She's
hands me a
using
piece
a
of
fork.
cake, and she's like, I don't know.
She's like using a fork for ice cream.
Forks all around.
Sandwiches.
Okay, would you rather 30 butterflies instantly appear from nowhere every time you sneeze, or one very angry squirrel appear every time that you cough?
Oh, the butterflies.
Yeah,
That could be like
for
so
sure.
like magical in so many ways. Like
so beautiful.
sneeze and then monarch butterflies are like those super. Oh my gosh,
Yes.
like super colorful like blue butterflies
Yes.
everywhere. It could be like a talent almost.
You could have
like,
such great content from that.
mean,
you know,
imagine-
like
oh, man.
sneeze, get the butterflies pose.
I mean, imagine being on a stage presenting in front of 1,000 people and like you're like, thank you,
30 butterflies.
like just everywhere. Like that'd be so amazing. That'd be so cool.
30
Be like,
is a lot.
It would be like
Viral,
the
like that, like-
butterfly version of like LeBron, like with this chalk, you know, where he's like,
Oh my gosh,
you know,
yeah,
just
opening up.
butterflies.
But where did the butterflies come from?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
What do they do afterwards?
Yeah, right. You've now brought 30 butterflies into the world every time that you sneeze.
Oh my
Wow.
god.
I sneeze 2 times every time I sneeze.
Do you?
It'd be
Really?
60 butterflies every time.
That is a
So
lot.
that's actually so funny. We should.
I'd be going. Think about if you're in the car and you sneeze.
Oh my gosh.
You go.
rolls down the windows.
Just butterflies coming out my window.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
so funny. This is actually a thing. Brad and my brother-in-law both, when they step out into the sun, they sneeze immediately.
Yeah, I know my brother does that too. It's the most interesting thing.
Yes.
Honestly, I need to look up some articles or read
I know
into
he's
it a
read
little bit,
about
'cause
it, but I forget like I don't know
why it happens.
why it happens, but it's so
Yeah,
weird. Like
yeah.
literally, sun, sneeze.
That's why at least he's outside. Yeah,
It's true.
Because for like allergy season or like if you're in an area with like it's super dusty or cleaning up or something, like you probably sneeze like 10 times.
Yeah.
That's a lot of butterflies.
Yeah,
But
but it's not like it's not even
But-
like allergies. Like
Yeah.
it could be.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's super weird. But my brother-in-law the same.
We're looking this up.
Yeah.
yeah.
Once we have internet.
All right. Any more?
Yeah, I got a couple more.
Sweet.
No, I have one more. Would you rather everyone be required to wear identical silver jumpsuits,
Oh, sweet.
or anytime 2 people meet and are wearing an identical article of clothing, they must fight to the death?
Ooh.
Oh, geez. Wow. Probably identical jumpsuits. Honestly, just because though it's not like too stylish, at the same time it would like break that wall down of just like, hey, you're wearing the same thing as me. Like, who are you? Kind of thing.
No,
like, so
fight.
yeah.
I
Oh, that's now I get what you're saying now.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so you can actually discover like who they are, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, so it's not just because I mean it's one thing with primary or private schools and everything having just different uniforms and all wearing the same thing, all being on the same page. That's one thing that like I was looking at with public school and private schools and working in that field and everything, and it's honestly a pro, but it's something like, I mean, a silver jumpsuit. That's interesting.
Right.
So.
Everybody has those silver jumpsuits on.
Yeah,
Can you imagine though, like showing up to like prom or something and there's a girl that's wearing the same dress and you just like fight it out?
I know, right?
That
Oh my
thing
gosh. Yeah,
happens.
that does happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I would really,
But it's
I would really.
To the death.
Like,
Like,
death.
that's intense.
Like-
Like,
Although, if everyone knew that that was a thing, I think people would be more intentional to not wear it. Unless you didn't like someone, then you
Unique.
just show up in the dress. Never mind. I don't know.
I know.
Maybe
Yeah,
maybe I would take that one. I don't know.
I know.
yeah.
It would shake things up. It's silver. I don't know if I could wear a silver jumpsuit every day. I feel like that
Yeah.
movie where, you know, with those movies where you see like they open up their closet, they have the same thing.
Yeah.
every
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
You just be like,
Same
oh, my
black
whole
suit.
closet's full of silver jumpsuits.
Yeah. The whole scene where you open it up, it's like, what am I going to wear today? Oh,
Yeah.
Well, black suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Those are all my would you
Yeah,
rathers.
those are awesome.
Solid.
Yeah. Those are good.
Because now we know so much more about you. We know that you would wear silver jumpsuits, and only use forks, and this is vital information.
It
people.
is. It is. Yeah, honestly,
For
honestly.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. It's good.
Okay, where do you want to start us with, Liv?
I don't know. What do you want
Okay.
to start with?
Well, why don't you give us a little bit of background on like where you're from
Yeah.
and kind of
A little bit of the story.
give us some background, and then we'll kind of get into some of the things that you're doing now.
Sweet. So, born and raised up north in Noblesville. In my entire life, I've always been taken out of class. I'm a resource student, so that means I have an IEP, which is an independent educational plan. So from 4th grade all the way to the day I graduated, I was taken out of class. I had my test read to me and extended time on the test. So it really put a mental strain on me, just always knowing like, Luke, you're different, pretty much. I mean, the stuff that came along with that, the bullying, the hazing, I mean, it really is easy to get trapped in your head because, I mean, imagine sitting in class and everyone's absorbing this information and you just can't. You can't process that as quick. You can't process it as fast. So that is something that I really experienced a lot and, I mean, really affected me. But now being outside of high school and everything, it's been amazing just connecting with other people and understanding, like, hey, that's not true. I just learned in a different way and I just have to work maybe a little bit harder, which is totally cool. But in high school, I started a nonprofit when I was I built a school in Ghana when I was 17. I started the nonprofit when I was 18, and then partnered with a secondary school in Kenya. I took a couple missions trips in there in high school to Kenya. And then randomly I was thrown in front of a secondary school of like 850 students, and the main bishop he used to be the main bishop of Kenya, has traveled to the States and seen an innovation open source learning class that I was in high school, which allowed me to learn what I want, how I want, really just gave me that opportunity that I never had, just to like, I don't know, like, Luke, what do you want to learn? So learned some cool stuff, had a couple of cool opportunities, and then brought me to the point where I am now, where I'm actually partnering with another school, National Girls School, 1,500 students there, and implementing a 10 pillars educational program, which I broke the innovation class down here in the States down to 10 pillars that can be implemented anywhere regardless of resources or location, because it's thinking processes, personal development. Just these kids are super eager to learn, and just giving them some cool resources and tools that they wouldn't normally get. So just constantly honestly, that's a little bit of the background, a little bit of the story of the come up, and a lot of different things in there, but it was definitely challenging, but it was cool.
So I just have a couple questions for you.
Yeah.
Like, coming out of the whole, you know, kind of the getting bullied and things like that, like what's your kind of view of that whole system where, you know, having to deal with that and then coming out of it, like how did you kind of deal with that and then like get over like some of the things that you had to deal with there? because I think about that a lot with my own kids, that if it seems to be that and because I didn't go to public school, so every time that you kind of see that somebody has this difference, that seems to be everybody gangs up, and then those are sometimes people have a harder time overcoming that adversity. And so it's always something that's kind of in my head, because I was homeschooled, so I didn't, it was just my brother and I. So there was the usual like brother on brother stuff, but it was never like, oh, well, you're this or that, and there's 10 or 15 other kids that are saying these things. So just out of curiosity, like kind of the viewing on how public schooling works and putting everybody together, and kind of like your thoughts on all that sort of stuff.
I mean, the educational system is, in my opinion, like just very corrupt. I mean, it's been the same for, years. You put everyone in the same classroom, everyone then becomes robots because they sit down, you force this information in their mind. A week later, you have a test, and then a week later, you're on a new subject, and you just forgot everything you just learned. Odds are 90% of your students learn in different ways, and it's very hard to show them all that attention. So I completely understand why it has remained the same. But it's an interesting challenge. The Started Up Foundation with Jeremy Miller and the founder of that, Don Wettrick, are doing a phenomenal job with just allowing students to gain the entrepreneurial mindset, which I truly believe is a medicine almost, with students learning what they want, how they want. But overcoming all those challenges and everything, it's definitely, that was definitely one of the most difficult things I ever had to go through, for sure. But the students who also have the IEPs, the way I talk to them is like, hey, like your IEP, you need to lean into it because it's your superpower. Because for me, like reading, I was terrible at like I had to, if you hand me a paragraph right now, I now have to read it 3 times. 1 to look at the words, the second time to piece the words together, and 3 to actually understand what they mean. But I mean, with all the resources and the tools that we have and everything, like Audible, I found out that because what I did was I would receive an audiobook and follow along with a physical copy, and I didn't read any books until probably last year, honestly. And in 6 months I read 27 books, because all you do is you have a physical copy, put on the Audible, and on Audible you can set it to like speed and a half. So you can actually process the words quicker, pause your thought, take notes, unpause, and continue to go and process. So I truly like encourage students that do have IEPs to not look at that as like a disability, because I mean, disabilities is a very hard word, especially once you are like, that you have that at a very young age. So it's something that I'm still like growing into, to like learn and how to share and broadcast that out to other students, just because it is extremely difficult, and so many students are going through similar things right now.
Yeah. I kind of had a feeling that you would, kind of say that about the education system. So I was just interested to kind of see what your thoughts were. Yeah,
absolutely.
So you're like keep sparking questions in my head.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the first one is, like, what was your aha moment? Like, what was the moment when you finally said, like, enough is enough, I can embrace this? Did somebody help you through that, or was there something you saw or heard that kind of made you go, okay, like I can embrace this and keep moving forward and like innovate in ways to like, figure my ways around this? Yeah.
It was my sophomore year of high school in that innovation open source learning class. That was the first time I had the opportunity to learn what I want. So at that time, I'm like, look, I understand I'm not good at school, and that's something that probably won't change, because I'm not interested in any of these subjects. It is so difficult for me to learn, and that just makes it so much harder to actually feel fulfilled, like feel like I'm actually accomplishing something. Realistically, not gonna be able to make it to college. I've been told that by multiple different teachers, peers, all of that. But in that class, I started off with film and holding a camera. So I loved it. I was so passionate about it, about film, movie making. My sophomore year, I connected with some producers, James Franco, producers for Need for Speed, The 100. Just learning about the entire system of just how does that work? What's that grind look like? What are the different processes? And that was really the time where I'm just like, dang, like I can actually like, I just want to learn what I want. and like, because of that, like it developed how I communicate to people, how to handle conflict, and how to have crucial conversations with people, how to be clear and concise with questions, and also with sharing stories as well. That's one thing that, I mean, we're always growing and building, but that was probably the point in time where I'm like, okay, like this this is something I can chase and go after.
Yep. So I don't know how old are you?
I'm 19. I can't say that for much longer. My birthday is February 23rd, and so I can't say it for too much longer. So, yeah,
It's gonna be out of your teens. You'll be 20 years old.
it's wild. It's very very wild. It's exciting though.
I'll tell you this: you definitely don't come off as
Thank you. I appreciate
not at all.
it.
I
Thank
would
you.
not have guessed that. You said
Yeah.
that. Like, what?
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I've just had some really, really cool mentors in my life. One of my biggest mentors is my brother. He's 3 years older than me. So growing up, I was always looking at big bro. Hey, what is he? What's going on with him? Where is he messing up? Why are my parents yelling at him? I would always listen because it's like I don't want to do that. I don't want to get the criticism, but also it's just like, hey, where did you fail at in high school? Like what were the difficult challenges that you went through? And genuinely learning from him. And he is, he's operated probably 15 different franchises while in high school or college. And just he is an abundance of knowledge I'm just really grateful to have, just because I never had friends that were really my age. It was always friends that were seniors, honestly, because he was a senior while I was a freshman. So I was always just chilling with people that were older age, and it's just better conversation too. Yeah. Honestly, it's something that I found, and I enjoy it. So.
No, I think that's super helpful. I don't know if you've ever thought of this. That's why I asked you how old you were, but I'm gonna ask you the question anyways.
Okay.
Have you given any thought to what you would do once you get older and have kids of your own, like what you would do with their education?
I would, I've definitely thought about a private or public school, homeschooling. I've definitely weighed out all the different options, but regardless of whatever that, because that ultimately also comes down to like what my wife thinks too in the future. But
this is true.
With that,
let's just say right now
good
she's on.
answer.
Yeah,
right.
It is a good answer.
with that, the one thing that I am going to encourage, regardless whatsoever, is that they are involved with something else like that they are doing. Hey, what do you actually like to do? It's all because it's also just about consumption. Because so for myself, and the reason why I've been able to feel a ton of fulfillment and passion and drive towards what I'm doing is just because simply what I'm consuming is I swap music for personal development videos. I swapped watching TV for books. And because of that swap and everything, I've allowed to focus on myself, learn a ton of different things. Made for cinematography. YouTube is an arsenal full of different things. It's a rabbit hole that's worth going down and traveling in. And that's just one thing I would, encourage my kids to do 100%. Is just I don't care what you do. You don't have to be successful. You just need to feel fulfilled. At the end of the day, satisfaction, once you taste satisfaction, success will never taste the same. And that's the one thing I genuinely want for all my kids is because that's where you can create an impact with what you're doing. And that's the one thing that that's one thing I honestly just want for my kids.
Yeah. Good answer.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned watching some stuff on YouTube. But is there anybody that you're watching right now?
Oh man, I'm hopping around a ton. So I'm partnered with a full stack marketing agency, Novelty Growth, where we also focus a lot heavily on personal development. And the founder, Adam Carendang, one of my closest friends, also one of my greatest mentors, he compiled a list of 187 videos that he watched throughout his college while in his time in college, and they are ranging from soul set, heart set, skill set, mindset, just a ton of different development. And it's just a video a day, honestly. So I hop on the playlist, I scroll. And there's some bigger names in there, but the one thing that I just have to push myself to do is just there's Ty Lopez, there's different perspectives on him. I'm just going to watch it. Tony Robbins, the same thing. His name has become a buzzword, but there's very valuable information within all of that. So honestly, I'm just hopping around a ton. Honestly, I was on Jordan Peterson for a while. He is very just his perspective and bluntness on some things. It's a good perspective to hear sometimes.
Yeah, he has good content.
Yeah.
Sure.
His lectures. Have you gotten into some of his lectures?
I've seen a couple.
Okay.
My husband's super into him, so
Gotcha.
I've watched some, and now I'm kind of I like his stuff.
okay.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Very insightful.
So you had mentioned something about novelty growth, so I'm going to ask you a couple questions about that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're specifically doing full time right now, or? You said partnered, so
yeah. So I'm leading storytelling, content creation. We are building out a lot of different systems and processes right now, pretty much to amplify and just scale long term. And with that, I'm just really working one-on-one with our clients and helping them to define their story, because what we are doing is we're not. When someone hires Novelty Growth to take on their personal brand, it's not like, let's make you look good and let's do that. But no, like, let's share your story. Let's share who you are, because that's actually what people want to hear. In terms of conversions, engagement, really amplifying your brand. That's how you create those raving fans. That's how you reach that third level audience of, you have your fans. If I post something, you're going to see it. But how do I get the people that are following you to see it? And with that, it's just being authentic and being sincere and allowing just that story and that development to come in. That's also how Novelty Growth comes in with the personal development too, because the content we're creating, it's not just, it's not fluff. It's like, hey, you need to know your story. So we're going to help you define it. So that's my involvement with that. I would say the other thing consuming the most time right now is developing my nonprofit and building out, right now I'm building out 10 modules with 40 different lessons that it's one of the biggest challenges that I've had to overcome and really just fight through. It's just, how can I develop these modules to where anyone in the world, if they were to come to this, translate it to their language, they would be able to process and understand it. So doing that, multiple different presentations, fundraising right now too for a trip coming up. And so between those things, that's where all my time and energy is going as well.
So what about when you're not working?
I will. It's balance. Jeremy Miller is the one who that's one of his words for this year, and it's something to always be thinking about. It's just balance, finding that balance between going and meeting with friends, going and meeting with family, and just chilling and having that time, working and having that downtime to yourself. So when I'm not working, it's reading, or it's downtime with some friends. Honestly, I've been blessed to have an amazing network of friends and role models, mentors, all of the above. That, I mean, you become the 5 people that you hang around most, and I'm super grateful to have those people. So having that time where
yikes, I don't want to be like Cole.
It's not nice.
It's something that takes a while to develop. Yeah, it's something that takes a while to develop. I'm really grateful for that. So it's reading. I mean, making sure that at least every other week there's that time where it's just the downtime chill. Like, hey, let's just get together, just mastermind a little bit, not worry about work, but just kind of start manifesting the future. But
now, are you and Jeremy? Are you guys in the same place now? Or?
Yeah, he's my housemate. So
I saw some of your posts recently, and I was like,
it's honestly been a huge blessing too, just because it's cool because we're able to like draw that line, like, yo, like we got work to do, but it's also like, yo, like I need your thoughts and I need your perspective, because he is a genius within marketing, personal branding, I mean, brand amplification, everything, and that's something that's a quality skill that I'm learning too. And just learning that is helping me grow into my story and who I am more. So it's kind of cool, like 24/7 mastermind. So.
Is this the first time you've been like on your own?
No, I had an apartment prior to this up in Noblesville. So now we're in Broad Ripple, and that's inside the loop. And it's so wild being in Indy and how like centrally located. I don't know, it's cool.
That's fun.
Yeah,
that was always one of the places I lived up there for a little while.
Oh,
and
sweet.
I always thought that was cool. I worked in Broad Ripple, so
like, got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun up there, that's for sure.
Yeah. For sure.
And that helps out a lot. Gosh, I tell you what, I feel like it's so hard to like go out on your own, especially right off the bat. I mean, I did it, but it's expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, Liv?
Yeah. Kind of. I have a little bit of a different story with that, though. So
that's okay. I know. I'm poking at her. So while we're still, I asked you kind of like what you do in your downtime too. You had mentioned something, I think maybe before we actually started the episode, about rock climbing.
Yes. It's amazing. I have a question. Have you guys ever rock climbed before, or maybe seen a movie called Free Solo? Maybe or seen? Have you? Maybe not. It's okay if you haven't.
No.
Okay.
All the above, but I think I've done it like 2 or 3 times.
Got you.
I have a cousin that took me. I think that's who I went with. I don't know. I went with a couple different people, a couple different times. So I was trying to talk to somebody about it not too long ago, and I see all your guys' stuff all the time, like online, of course, and you're rock climbing a lot. There's the one place where it's got that big, like,
the Hoosier Heights.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
It's really, really cool. They're the only one in the nation, in the Midwest that has that. Because, I mean, when you think about it, they have routes set on that, and it's simulating coming out of a cave. And
it's intense.
It's cool. It's really cool.
Have you made it up and all the way around?
I have.
Okay.
I have. Yeah.
I got upside down and I froze. I'm just like,
I would love to see that.
That's honestly one reason why I love it though. Just because
so
like
good.
have you guys been skydiving by chance? Not yet.
No,
Is it
not
on your
yet.
list to do
Yes.
though? Sweet. Honestly, like I did one tandem jump. It was the most like exhilarating thing ever. But I mean, it's really, really cool because I mean, unlocking that level of adrenaline in your brain, like that's like it's natural. It's good. It's
Yeah.
very intense. And being able to walk into a climbing gym, do an extreme sport. I mean, have all of your weight on 2 or 3 fingers slip and fall, and then like you're freaking out for a couple of like 0.2 seconds, and then you're right back where you are. And unlocking that adrenaline over time, it's really, really cool because sometimes I'll bring in my laptop or everything, or be doing some work on the phone and everything. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna take a quick break, go try this, and then hop right back into it. So it's really, really cool. Honestly, also in nature too. I mean, I'm not sure. Are you guys? Do you guys like hiking? Are you guys outdoorsy? Okay, with that, you guys know the peace and the love. I mean, the excitement that brings and everything. It helps clear the mind.
oh yeah.
And with that, it's just super cool to go out with. I mean, 5 to 10 guys go out to Tennessee and just go climb some rocks.
Yeah.
It's super, super simple, but at the same time, it's one of the most. It'll push you physically as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
I remember that was one of the most like full body workouts I ever felt. You know, what I mean, it was
tense,
like every
yeah.
piece of you. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, this is intense.
yeah. It's very fun though.
But
yeah.
it's been a hot minute, and I probably wouldn't. Be
I
as
would
good as
not
was
be
then.
good at all.
Yeah, it's
I
like-
climb 3 flights of stairs every day. I'm like,
It's all good. It's all
Okay.
good. The social aspect of it as well is something that, I mean, it's the coolest thing to do. Like, hey, like, have you ever rock climb? Cool. Let's go network and let's go rock climb. Because, I mean, on the wall, you have 20 different routes. All of them are super easy, super hard, and everyone's body type is different. So I'm going to climb it differently than you.
Right.
And I'm going to help you out I'm going to help you climb the route, and you're going to help me climb the route. And it's like, honestly, like I've brought so many different people into, I climb at Climb Time Indy, and I brought so many different people in there, and it's the one thing, like, you can break a barrier. And that's the one thing I love doing with people, honestly. Like, the other is like slacklining. Like, people don't normally do that, but like when you're there and you have the opportunity to, like, you may be a little fearful, but it's like, no, just come on, let's try it. Like, and then you break that barrier, and it allows for that level of intimate conversation to come in, and that's when you can actually learn who someone is.
No, I like that because it's a little different. Like in my industry, like more often than not, everybody wants to play golf.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm working through that.
Yeah.
When are you gonna learn to play? And I'm like, I don't know.
You're like,
I'm so bad at it. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
It's not even funny. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So the nice like middle ground I found is
Putt-putt.
no
Top golf?
top golf.
Top golf. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can do that. That's fun. I
Yeah.
actually find joy in that.
Sweet.
I cannot find joy in actually playing 18 holes.
It's very hard to like stay engaged the whole time and like want
6
to
hours.
do it. Like,
Yeah.
You're like,
it's a lot of time too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
6 hours. Let's go. I don't know.
I'm
I don't
like,
know.
I'm tired. I'm sweating. I can't hit a ball. You're just watching me swing away and like miss it every time.
Yeah.
I think you like Top Golf because then it gives you an excuse to drink and sport at the same time.
Well, you can do that whether you're on the golf course or if you're at Top Golf. Usually I get better throughout the day.
Yeah.
Or it's just that you don't care.
Yes, I care a lot less by the end of the day as well.
Fair. Yeah.
But
That's
you made me
so
think about
funny.
it just because it does. Like, it's that time that you can still even have some business conversations, but it breaks down those personal barriers and you can actually talk about, you know, hey, this is happening in your life or family or friends, or you can get to that next level instead of just like, oh, business as usual.
It's also like much less awkward than just like sitting there looking at someone over like a cup of coffee. You know what I mean? Like you have something
Yeah.
to do with your hands. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I was talking with my brother-in-law a couple days ago, and he and I were just working on a puzzle, and like, which sounds so old, right?
No, it's amazing. Seriously, that's what I did during my concussions and everything. Is we just did puzzles. It was great.
So relaxing.
Yeah.
It's so, and I've not done puzzles in like years. and they were like, we need help with this puzzle. I'm like, okay. And we were going after doing this puzzle, and he and I talked for like hours. And I'm just like, and it's less awkward because you're not just like looking at each other, you know, like you're working on stuff together too. So
doing something together.
Most of the puzzles I do are like mermaids or Barbies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dad, where does this piece go? I was like, let's break this down for a second.
Let's think about it.
Start with the corners.
Yeah, start with the edges.
Come on, work your way out and work your way in.
It's
divide up like colors.
Yes.
It's the how to win friends and influence people though, for sure. It's just one, like, I mean, to get that level of intimacy and everything, like get them talking about themselves, but also just like, I mean, doing something to break that barrier is, I mean, it works magic. It really does. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I could
agree.
see for sure, like everything that we all do, it's all, I mean, it's all networking. It's all like socializing and trying to meet new people and expand, you know, and I don't, in Mindtree, we all call it your sphere. Yeah. So it's like you have different layers of your sphere. And so it's always trying to build that sphere and be able to work with that group of people. So. Yeah.
Well, and others have more experience or different experiences, so just being able to like learn from each other is huge, right?
It's key.
And we talked about this a little bit last week, and really like just touched on it right before we started the episode. Just like Cole does like the technology side of things, like he's the techie, and I'm more of like the creative. Ish, you know, like the visual side of it, I feel like, and I'm like, okay, I have this vision, help me put it together.
Right.
And
how do
he's
we
like,
get to that?
So just like working off of each other, I think is
that's
key.
good. Yeah, absolutely. Especially, I mean, when you're growing and building a brand and a team, and this podcast too. I mean, it's extremely helpful to have multiple different components of. I mean, that's one thing that we implement within the 10 pillars. It's called the Roth IRA. It's a thinking process, and there's one part of it called homogeneous grouping, and that's where you have groups of no more than 4 students get together, and every single person has to have a different perspective or engage in a different project, because with that, they just bring something unique to the table. So
yeah, I think figuring that out too, like we have like every year. The real estate company that I work for, we do like what we call our sales rally. And this at the beginning of every year, and we kind of like get awards for the past year, and usually there's a keynote speaker. I don't remember what his name was, and I will try to find it because he actually had some really interesting things to say. His background is in improv, and he brings that into his, I would say, motivational speaking. Yeah. It was cool. Like he did his whole keynote and was like explaining these like 4 rules of improv, and went through those with us, and then had us do all these like standing up and like games and stuff to kind of show interactive and show like what you're talking about. Like each person will have a different opinion. Like he's like stand up in groups of 4 and each tell a story, but you have to tell it one person, one word at a time. Okay. And he would do that, and then he'd break it down into 2, and then show you like. Yeah. Did you have a more creative, interesting story with 4 different people, or was it with the 2 people? And of course, it was with the 4 people, because you have 4 different minds that are
all on the same subject.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was cool because he wouldn't tell you what the whole lesson was until we got to the end, and then you're like, oh, okay, yeah. I did just learn that.
That's so cool, though. That's honestly, yeah.
He was a very interesting person. I got to talk to him a little bit after the show.
Amazing.
So. And like I said, I'll have to find his name for you.
Yeah. That's cool. You posted a picture with him, didn't you? Or am I
don't think I
crazy?
did.
Okay.
I don't think I did.
Okay.
No. They had me taking headshots that day, so I didn't get to involve as much. Gotcha. They had me work.
Getting people's LinkedIn photos.
Right. Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. Seriously, no, it's a good way. It's a good cash grab too. Honestly, headshots, photographer. Oh yeah, it's really easy.
Have you? So, what Liv was talking about, like what we were just talking about. Have you done the Dolly Parton challenge yet? Have you
No, I haven't. Honestly, could you explain it too as well?
So this has been a thing for a minute, I feel like, but then it exploded. So Dolly Parton did like 4 photos of like what your LinkedIn photo looks like, what the Facebook, the Instagram, and then I've seen more of it like with Twitter instead of Tinder, but then Dolly Parton did the Tinder one, so then everyone's been doing those 4.
Wild.
It's so funny.
It's not crazy how much that person has influence though on doing that. Like it really just shows the like true power of having a good brand.
It is so crazy. I was because then people are like obviously using the hashtag of like Dolly Parton challenge, so I was looking through some of them and I was like dying. They're so funny. I love it. I love those things.
Like brands were getting into it. Like Whole Foods posted something. I think there were like 100,000 posts with the hashtag. I think when I checked it.
So quick.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Came out of nowhere.
There's so much.
So you should do it.
Yeah, honestly, I do. Yeah.
Liv did one for the podcast, and she did one for herself, and I did one for myself as well. We were like sending them yesterday, just cracking up at the things.
It was so fun.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I need to do it. I need to look into it.
Well, let me see here. Okay, so we're gonna start wrapping up here a little bit. We're getting towards the end here, but as usual, we're gonna do our little game here with Luke, and we're gonna have him give us 2 stories.
Before you get there,
what's up?
I just wanted to wrap up the side of it of wanting to get to know him. If there was one piece of advice that you would give to, I always mix up this or not say this word right, entrepreneurs. There we go. But they don't know where to start.
Yeah.
It's broad.
No, it's good. Really, I mean, one, you just need to dive in. Like the whole thing about like you can only do so much planning. Dive in, just start something. You're gonna fail, understand it, move on. But the other thing is little side story. So when I was in Kenya and everything, I stayed with the Maasai tribe, and with that, in order to become a Maasai man, you have to kill a lion. They don't practice this anymore, but the whole the ritual and how it happens, there's 50 boys that go out in the nature to kill a lion. The first person to throw a spear, that's who the lion's coming after. The other 2 boys have to help kill him. And I asked the bishop, I'm like, hey, how do you do that? I don't see YouTube videos on how to practice this. This is crazy. And he just told me it's no practice. It's just courage. And that's the one thing that, like I do share with entrepreneurs too, is like, I mean, like a large percentage of the time, I'm still just educating myself on the task, the skill that I'm doing. And all I have to do is have courage, regardless if that's, okay, I'm going to an investor, I'm going to a sponsor, and I have to go share all these different things, but no practice, just courage.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'd share.
Right on.
All right. That's very well put.
Thank you.
That was it.
That's sweet.
What? Yeah. I said that was it.
Sure. No, that was awesome. Okay, so again, 2 stories. One's going to be the truth. One's going to be the lie. Liv and I are going to find that out. I think we're probably going to do a couple rounds, and we'll see how we fare.
Sweet.
Y'all set?
Yeah. Yeah, there's one we can do. So
no, you can't say that you killed a lion now, because
that's a whole nother
because now
thing.
we know. Although we have had someone on here that say that they killed a kangaroo.
Oh wow,
that was a thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was true.
Okay. Well, shoot.
Was that Earthsprung?
No, it was Jackson.
Oh yeah. I was trying to remember who that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So this was actually super duper exciting. When I was in high school, when I was building out the nonprofit and everything, I connected with Scott Harrison, who is the founder of Charity Water. They've raised over $350 million over the past 14 years they've been around. Scott's 44 years old, and they've impacted over 8 million people, and it's crazy. One of his good connections, I'm actually spacing on his name. He created Room to Read, which is a very similar structure to Charity Water, but for libraries. And libraries, I think the stats was, libraries. It was like 18,600 libraries or something with millions of books in them and everything, and donated. So I actually partnered with them in high school, partnered with another local nonprofit where it was another school in Greenwood where we partnered together and then helped build see guys, like, I'm sorry. I paused on it, and it's gonna show the lie. Guys, I don't lie. This is
he's like, I can't lie.
The challenge that you guys gave me was like, you have to lie. I'm like, guys, I don't lie. like this is really, really hard. But anyway, we partnered and we made a school. The other story I was gonna share is while I was in Kenya, actually. All the students and everything, they gathered around during like the whole gift ritual as we were leaving, and they're like, hey, like you need a Kenyan name and everything, and then they said, oh, it's Olumayana. Like, what does that mean? They said it's a blessing. So I also have a Kenyan name, and that was the truth to it. I'm sorry, guys. I totally messed up on it. Like, you said my bad.
I don't know. I was like,
really
he's got
bad
a lot
at
of
lying.
details to this
I
story.
thought that was true.
Guys, I'm not gonna lie. I thought this the whole time. Like, guys, there's gonna be a point in the story where I'm just like, pause. It's rough, but
she understands. She's the same way.
Sweet. Yeah, it's just
can't lie.
It's difficult to lie. I don't know. It's hard, but
Audrey can't lie. Sorry.
I'm good at it.
Same.
Right? She's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I did it and red.
So.
Well, so does that count as a win then?
I feel like that counts as our win.
Yeah. No, it is. It is. I'll give it to you guys too. Okay. So, all right. Let's attempt another.
Okay.
one,
So what is the name again?
Of.
Your
Oh
Canadian
yes,
name.
Olomeana. So yeah, Olomeana just means a blessing. So when I pronounce myself, my name and everything, I say Jambo, hello, Gina Langoni Luca Olomeana. So my name is Luke Olomeana, and with that breaks an entire cultural barrier between me and whoever I'm speaking with, because it shows, hey, I've been here, and also I'm connecting with you. The whole. An avatar with the blue monkeys and everything that I see you, it's very similar to that with different cultures, especially with a white American coming into their culture. It just shows that level of like, hey, like I care, like I'm with you, kind of thing. So
That's super cool.
That's cool.
Olomeana. So it was wild. Schoolgirls wrote it on my hand, and I'm like, all right, cool, let's roll with it.
I'll take it.
Yeah. So, yep. You want to try to get into the next one? Attempt
Yes.
it? All right.
We're going to attempt it.
Again, I'm sorry.
You got this,
That's
man.
totally my bad. My bad.
Oh, you're fine. It's not really a bad thing.
Yeah. So,
we've had a lot of people who, or there's like a small list of people who don't drink coffee, and then now we can start our list of people who can't lie.
yeah, I'll be
Which is
first
sad.
on it for
You are the
2020.
first one.
I'll be on it for first. It's honestly, it's
You're
one
the first
of those
one overall.
difficult things. Fair. Yeah.
Just saying,
okay.
it's not a bad thing. Be like, we got a lot of good liars on the show.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's okay.
You got this.
Yeah. All right.
I believe in you.
Us being the chief liars.
I know, right?
So,
Yikes.
one of the things, honestly, like it hurts to do, but like, you know how you can like pop your knuckles like this? So I can actually like pop mine like on command.
Oh.
Oh gosh.
And with that, like in middle school, I did set a record for doing this and like attempted to go get it on Guinness and everything for most consecutive knuckle pops, like back and forth. Think of wild stuff. And it's like, okay, like I have this, like, I don't know, let's attempt to do this.
That's so funny.
I attempted to do that. And then the other one was really about the first time I've ever really experienced this. It was kind of crazy, and I really like took a couple of steps back when I was getting into it. But we had a goat slaughter in Kenya, like a fresh goat slaughter, and they'll slit the throat and put all the blood in a bucket, and they'll pass it around, and like you have to drink it. And so I've also had like fresh goat's blood.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I
So-
feel like I've seen that before, like somewhere on TV. Just saying.
Both of them were super wild, but honestly, like this hurts now too, because I can also like. It's rough. It's rough. I'm sorry, but like,
He's like,
It's just like it's like in my ears.
yeah, it's just
you know,
the
like,
ringing.
listening to
Yeah,
it.
no,
ASMR.
Yes, correct.
It's just the cracks. Yeah.
What are you thinking?
I don't know. I feel like the Guinness thing could be a thing,
It would not surprise me.
but also
Neither one of them sound like they're a lie. That's the thing.
I know that's what I feel like. Nice job.
It just depends on
Thank
which
you.
one you want to be true more. That's what
I don't know. I feel like the goat's blood would be like a cooler story, you know?
I drink goat's blood.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you think? I feel like we should go with that as true.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I'm with
Yeah,
that.
you guys all right? It is true. It is true.
Nice.
It was.
You lied very well about the other part.
Thank you. I tried. I really tried that time. I'm like, all right, gotta crush this one. But yeah, no, it was. So when we're there and everything, it's almost seen as, because goats they're just cattle, and you use every part of it. You use it for milk. You also, because once there's a goat slaughter, it's like, okay, like this is a celebration. And it was because of us being there and everything. And the one thing that the secondary school that I'll be traveling to partner with and everything, and I don't know if this is going to happen, but potentially a bull slaughter. And with that, it's like, it's a festival almost. Like we are gathered together to celebrate. But I mean, the one thing, they use every part of it. They took out the raw kidneys and just ate like just raw kidney. And like, it was an experience. It was an experience from start to end. I'm like, okay, like we can say we've done this. Like, but it was a lot to take in just because, I mean, we don't see that.
Right.
No.
I mean, goats are things you see at the fair, and the goats are things you see on a farm. You don't see it in that perspective on the other side of the world, and it's a really, really interesting perspective. But it was cool. It was I mean, very ceremonial, and also it was just I mean, it was a blessing. They really will give you as much as they can, and like him giving up one of his goats that he relies on is like it was really, really cool.
That's cool. That's a good story to have.
That is.
It was wild
That's
for sure. yeah. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, those were the only ones that I came prepared with.
No,
and
it's great.
I still
that's great.
I was really confident going into that first one. I'm not gonna lie, but like there was just that point.
It showed. I was like, okay.
Dang, like there's a drop off.
You had me though.
You could have.
I'm just letting you know.
You still could have played off the pause. Honestly.
Oh yeah.
You had so many details to it. We're like, okay, this.
All those stats are true though. Like about Charity Water and with Room to Read and everything. Two very, very successful nonprofits. With Charity Water, Scott Harrison is a mentor of mine. I connected with him in high school, and he just showed me the rights, the wrongs, and how to stay genuine with your word and your mission too. And because of that, he's just allowed me to, like we said, mentors, connecting with people, shows you different perspectives and a different way to better yourself. So,
oh yeah.
Right on.
Wild.
Well, sweet. With those awesome words, we're gonna wrap this thing up here.
Perfect.
So, Luke, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me on. Seriously, this was a lot of fun. It was a good conversation. So it was good. Yeah, honestly.
Those are the two things we want to achieve: fun and good conversation.
It is, and good coffee.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yep.
Write the coffee down. Thanks, Luke.
No worries.
So yeah, good to go. We got our 1 year anniversary coming up soon, so we're working on planning some things there, and so we just appreciate everybody listening and
have some more guests
scheduled.
Y'all,
Liv's doing a good job. so yeah,
good.
This was 34. So
we're out.
34.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening.
Yep.
No cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. There you go. I know that's the plastic.
I know.